7:43, time for Headline Makers today with writer and columnist Emma Wolfe, and a warm welcome back to breakfast, broadcaster and proud Liverpudlian, you'd never know it, Pete Price. Morning to you.
Well, actually, I'm from the
I'm
Wirral.
half Liverpudlian.
Are you?
Are you? And my mother's side is all Scouse, so yeah, half.
I am actually from the Wirral. I'm an adopted Scouser.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm adopted, but I was given the freedom of the city, which was great.
How can you be... Oh, well, dear me.
Well, because we are a community, but they always say, but you live on the other side of the water, you're not a real Scouser.
Oh.
No, I'm from, sure,
Well, you've been accepted as one now.
Well, you sound the part, Pete. That's all that matters.
So, yeah.
Nobody loves Liverpool more than I do.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
All right, let's kick off with the Sunday Times. It's OK to skip school. Is it?
Yeah, no, of course it's not. Of course it's not. This is a new survey finding that over 1 in 4, so 28% of parents, basically since the pandemic, now feel they have a much more relaxed attitude to their children going to school. They now think it's OK for children not to attend school every day. Both our Education Secretary, Gillian Keegan, and the Shadow Education Secretary. It's a really interesting article in the Sunday Times, Bridget Phillipson, talking about her childhood and the poverty and all of that. But both the Education Secretaries and the Shadow are talking about the importance of really cracking down on this and getting children back to school. They're doing this kind of intervention where they want to have mental health ambassadors in every school, in every area. But they're talking about a kind of culture of lockdown. Persistent absence in schools rose from 10.9% before the pandemic to 22.3% last year. Wow. That's 22.3% of children not attending school every day. And we were talking just now about young people not having that culture of getting up, going, putting on a shirt and tie, going to work. I think it starts here. If you're not living in a family where you get up and go to school, it's very, very damaging for children. And there's a real concern over this kind of lost COVID generation.
I just can't understand the parents.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's structure. It's structure in the family.
Parental responsibility and structure.
And more parents are also ignoring the fact they're going on holiday and just paying the fine.
Yeah.
They just pay because they don't care.
That's more a middle-class problem, I know.
I'm sorry, I do not say that's middle class in any shape or form. Working class people also go away and don't give a damn over holidays, and they're paying as well. It's a right across the board now.
Well, it's the cost of living issue, isn't it?
What do you say about the cost of living issue?
Well, you can't afford, for working class families, if you want to take your children away, even if it's just within the country, you can't do it during the school holidays. They would say, well, we'll take the £60 fine. Yeah. Because that's better than the thousands more. Exactly.
But you say about the cost of living. Oz is on the Empire. There's a phenomenal show at the Royal Court. They're sold out every day, 3 shows a day. So don't tell me about the cost of living. It's crazy. People have got no money, but they've got money when they want to go out.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about knife crime, should we, in the Sunday Express, Pete? Because Idris Elba is getting stuck into this now. He's
launching a 3-month campaign, which is starting tomorrow, because of this blight, this epidemic that's going. And he's launching it outside Parliament tomorrow with some of the parents of the victims. The campaign aims, I just point this one point out, immediate ban the use of the sale of machetes and zombie knives. Immediate ban. Why are they ever on sale, for a start? That's for a start. Then they want to restore the Serious Violence Task Force. Now, the problem with that, and this is where I get a little bit bemused, you can't stop children carrying knives these days. It seems to be an epidemic. So you educate them. The best education in the world is putting a policeman in school, talking. I was in the catering industry years and years ago. I walked around with 7 knives. So I had a bag of knives. The idea of sticking a knife into a human being is appalling to me, and I can't imagine how and why you would do it. So I carried those knives around. I don't understand why children have knives. You blame governments, you blame ministers, you blame this, you blame that. It's got to start with the parents. It's got to start with the parents. Or am I wrong?
And with the school culture, and with this idea that you leave the house, you get your phone, your keys, your wallet, and your knife. Because that is the problem. When young men, and it is mostly, we're talking about, children young people, mostly men. I mean, we've just seen that terrible stabbing on Primrose Hill on New Year's Eve of that 16-year-old in an altercation. When you have a knife, things can escalate.
There is a cultural thing as well around this, which is which I don't quite understand, and it's not entirely, but it is predominantly black crime. There's a lot of this black-on-black crime when it comes to knife crime amongst teenagers and gang-related, and all that, which is why it's very important that Idris Elba is in it, because he's an example to all young black men, and often young black men who haven't got a father figure in the family. You know, he's an important ambassador for this. I think it's really important.
But there was just towards the end of the pandemic, I had a knife pulled on me in a car park. It was a white guy, and there was a gang of them, and they'd been having problems with the guy who was running the car park. I helped to defend him, and they pulled a knife. Now, the point I'm making is they will tell you, youngsters, their argument is, I carry a knife to protect myself. I've never carried a knife to protect myself. I've had problems in my life, but I wouldn't think of carrying a knife. I love the idea of sending police into schools, so much so, and I love in Liverpool when our police have the knife arches. I think they're wonderful, and I think you should have standard knife arches and make people walk through them, because you won't believe.
And you need to increase the penalties for being found with a knife on you, so that people are not. Because this is the problem. Everybody knows that young men get into rows, they get into fights and whatever, and there's issues between this gang and that gang. But when you have a knife or a gun, suddenly it becomes a fatal incident, rather than just a fight or someone abusing someone else. It's got to be a bigger penalty for being caught carrying a knife.
I
don't want police in schools, although I suppose it's inevitable.
But there are police go into schools now already to educate children. It's a great way of getting to know the Bobby, as they call it. But I remember years ago in nightclubs, I ran a huge club, and the gangsters used to come in. They were gangsters. If they had a problem between each other, they would meet in the gym the next day, put boxing gloves on, punch each other, shake hands, and go back. Then all of a sudden it all changed. With drugs, the knives started coming in.
Yeah, it's not good.
Emma, let's change tack a little bit, shall we? We'll stick with the Express, though, and this is Holly Willoughby on the front page of a lot of the papers this morning, actually, because she's back.
I'm going to sound like I'm going to sound like I really care about this passionately. She's bravely returning to our TV screens.
Bravely? I mean, honestly.
Nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money.
I know. I really fail to care.
Yeah.
She lives a wonderfully gilded lifestyle. Anyway, the excitement is that she's back on Dancing on Ice tonight, Stephen. Look as excited as I don't feel.
I really couldn't give a monkey's.
I know.
I mean, nothing against her. I've never met the woman. I've got nothing against her.
But she's got a lovely job. She's very well paid.
Yeah, she's minted.
She's had a difficult time, I assume, with her co-host, Philip Schofield, who had to leave 5 months ago because of the issues over his affair with a young runner on the TV, on ITV. And there we go, she's back. I suppose the issue is what will be. It's thought that she may well make a brief statement at the start of the opening episode. About Dancing on Ice. Just
about what?
Explaining her 5-month absence from our screen, or explaining her absence from our screens.
What's she going to do? Start it off by saying...
Maybe an Oscars speech.
Now, first, how are you doing?
Are you OK?
And I'm missing 2 noughts on the end of my bank account. Yeah, so I'm back.
I bet she's... Yeah, well, honestly...
Well, there was a horrific alleged... This is me reading out. A horrific alleged kidnap and murder plot.
Yeah.
And her nightmare time with Philip Schofield. So she's really been through the mill.
On a serious note, though, they must have beefed up security. Because
they have.
She's had a rough time that way.
Death threats, to be fair.
Yeah, she's got
an alleged kidnap threat as well.
Extra safety during filming at the studio in Hertfordshire.
But why doesn't she just get on and present... If there's a message at the front, it'll finish me off. Just get on and do the job.
Surely she won't after the reaction from last time.
I think
she wouldn't.
Well, let's wait and see. Are we all going to be watching Dancing on Ice tonight?
Well, we're talking about it.
Well,
I'm watching it because my mate's on, Claire Sweeney.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, she's on.
Oh, yeah.
And the Vivian was on last year. So, I only watch it for that. And I went down because I ice skate once, and when you fall, you fall. Yeah. Oh, my word, you fall. I put my teeth through my bottom lip. 3 stitches.
No. I thought you'd be like the Sugar Plum Fairy on skates. Yeah.
Well, no. I was. I used to work in an ice ring in Liverpool, and I was the DJ. And I went out on skates, and when you fall, it's like falling on the road. It hurts.
And there's sharp things around, i.e., blades.
Jennifer Ellison, the other year, she did a high kick. She's a trained dancer, a high kick, and split her head. She had stitches in her head on television.
No,
it was terrible.
Yeah.
So it is dangerous.
Oh, I won't be doing that show then.
No.
But who's got the best job? Who's got the best job? Holly. She watches, does nothing on skates.
Yeah. No, good for her, though. Good for her, but I just don't really care that she's coming back. Pete, we've got 1 minute 20. Let's just talk about e-scooters.
Oh, the e-scooters. Can't I save that to the next one?
Oh, we can do,
yeah,
if you like.
That's a really important one.
Oh, is it? All right,
a really important one. But the pilot story is important because 171 flights are being cancelled. So that's going to cause chaos for holidaymakers, for people travelling. It's going to be a knock-on effect all around the world, which is a dreadful story. Imagine if somebody had been sitting next to that window, that door, they would have been sucked out. Yeah.
Well, thank heaven for seatbelt. This is why you should always have your seatbelt on.
Oh, yes.
That's a good point, actually.
Well, somebody lost their shirt, didn't they?
Someone lost their phone as well.
And their phone. But the shirt was pulled off them. That's a conversation killer, wasn't it?
Well, it was a conversation killer. Thanks
but
for that,
the
Pete.
important thing is a lot of flights are going to be cancelled now because of that, and it's going to cause chaos around the
and
world.
an investigation as well, aren't they? Because you don't want that happening.
Thank God people are safe.
But aren't people amazing doing their emergency landings? I don't know if you saw the footage, but those emergency landings that the pilots do, and they really...
Stellar job from the pilots, also the cabin crew involved as well. And they're not just there to serve drinks, are they? Very important.
They are certainly not. Look, Pete, Emma, thank you. We'll see you later on. Right, let's see what the weather's going to do for you today with Greg.